Welcome to Season 2 of the Storypunks podcast. It's been a minute since the last episode. I'm your host, Cindy Grigg. I'm so excited to be back from hiatus. It's been about 4 months since the show ended Season 1. So if you're just joining us now, know that there is a whole other season that you can go check out. What is the Storypunks podcast? It is a show about all the punks. So steampunk, dieselpunk, cyberpunk, and all the other punks. So maybe you love these terms. Maybe they help you find things that you enjoy and they help you find community. Or maybe you don't love these terms and yet you're somehow drawn to listen to this show, apparently. So I do have guests that come on this show that feel both ways about it. So if you are interested in learning more about what other creators are thinking about when it comes to alternate history or, retrofuturism or any of the adjacent terms that don't even have punk in them, we talk about those here as well. So again, it's so wonderful to have you. It will be a continuation of the last season. This is a seasonal show that helps me ramp up and get ready for the next season. I learned in Season 1 how much work it takes to put together a podcast, a show, a video cast that is interview based. And I definitely want to continue with that because it is only feeding my own creative stuff. And I meet so many awesome and wonderful people. So yes, it's a huge time investment, but it's my way of giving back to the community that gives me so much. You can find out about my projects, my writing at cindygrigg.com, CINDYGRIGG.com. And I am still ramping up with all of them. So it is something where I'm sharing my journey for those of you who are creating. I hope it's relevant. But then I mostly focus on the interview, of course. And so let me talk a little bit about how I'm going to grow this show. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what's new this season. And then I'll just point you to where you can connect with the show if you haven't already. So first of all, for all you Etsy shop owners, writers, makers, creators, artists, musicians, whoever is out there making stuff and you have wares to sell when it comes to steampunk, cyberpunk, dieselpunk, solar punk, or anything adjacent to this type of thing, if it's aligned with what we're doing here and if it would be interesting to other people in the community, I would love to partner with you and have you sponsor an episode of the Storypunks podcast. If you are interested in being featured this season, please go to storypunks.world/promotion. And also, I will be doing some different things like sharing a couple other resources that will be available through Storypunks. People have asked me a lot about becoming a podcaster, for example. I'm going to share a resource about that. I'm going to share a resource about editing, finding an editor who gets you as a storypunk, and some different things that people have mentioned having a need for. So I would love to connect with you and share everything that I've learned, but also hopefully give you some new ideas that will spark your own new ideas. So that's what this community is all about. I'm so excited about the different interviews I have in the hopper. They've already been recorded over the break, and now I get to unleash them upon you. And I'm so excited. So if you have not yet subscribed, please go to iTunes or Stitcher or any of the other podcast catchers that you prefer and look for the Storypunks podcast. Now we're also on Google Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, Overcast, Player FM. I've been busy trying to just really make sure you can access the Storypunks podcast episodes and interviews wherever you prefer. So whether you're on iOS or Android or wherever. And if you prefer, you can actually just go to storypunks.world/subscribe. And I've linked it all right there. So please automate your listening or your watching experience. It just makes it that much better. And you'll just automatically get those episodes as they roll out. Now, this is a big change. It's actually a reversion. Is that a word? Reversion? But we're going back to what I originally did with the podcast, in that I am going to offer it weekly again. I really wanted to, and then it was just such a hefty load to lift. I seriously felt like I could handle it, and then there's just so much that goes into a show, and I had to go to bi-weekly just to survive. But now that I've turned it into a seasonal show, I think that's going to work even better because I've had all this time to ramp up and make sure I know how to evolve and carry the whole show forward. But I also have that head start that will allow me to offer it every week. Now, it's a seasonal show, like I mentioned, so roughly April to September, it will be on. So every week you'll have a new episode, and then there will be an off season. But wait, I actually have something that will be going on during that off season. Something continual, something to just keep the Storypunks vibe and party going. And that is the new Storypunks Facebook group. So this is a forum, and so I've called it the Storypunks Salon, as in the old time salons where they used to banter about stuff and talk about stuff. And so that's really what we're going for in the Storypunks Salon. I'm going to pose discussion questions and all of that. So if you've been listening and just sometimes thinking, I wish I could chime in on this discussion, that's what that's for. But it's also for an every other week book club. And I'm so excited about this. So for that reason, I'm calling it the Salon and Reading Room on Facebook. So you go to facebook.com/groups and then /Storypunks. And it is a closed group, but honestly, everyone is welcome to join. It's just a matter of clicking it and saying, I want to join, and then we'll approve you. So there you go. And I couldn't be more excited. I have the whole schedule of the books that I'm interested in reading, and I will get into more detail about that in future episodes. But if you want to get a sneak peek and see how that's developing, then go to storypunks.world/salon. And that type of salon is spelled with one L. So yes, it's not saloon either. So one O. And if you're interested in being part of the newsletter, I would absolutely love that, because I love getting listener questions for the remaining interviews that I still haven't recorded for this season. So you can still join and find out who is coming on to the show, so that when I'm recording them, maybe weeks or months ahead of when they're released, you can submit a question to that person that you love their book, you love what they're working on, and you've heard of this person, or maybe you find out about them through the newsletter, and that way you know who's coming on and you can engage in podcast interviews or YouTube interviews. We are on YouTube. And I'm stepping up my game when it comes to social media. There are people who have reached out to me, and I just wasn't dialed in on the different social media, like messaging stuff especially. And so I've put some tools in place to become better at that. Please accept my overarching apology. And I don't know, I'm just so excited to continue with everything we've done, but you will feel a slight difference as we move into 2019, because hopefully we're always evolving, and I want to be there for you as you evolve your creative projects. So once again, my name's Cindy Grigg. You can check out everything I'm working on as a creator at cindygrigg.com, CINDYGRIGG.com. And I'm excited to share my journey as it unfolds. I'm looking forward to an awesome 2019 and a very challenging 2019. Let's be real. And I hope that Storypunks is a point of leverage and traction and motivation for you. Thank you again. And until episode 31, I'm wishing you a wonderful week.